Good morning, Southern Illinois. You are listening to Isn't It Queer on WDBX FM 91.1, community radio serving the Southern Illinois region. This is Johnny, soon to be joined by Heather, and we are recording this show on a Monday afternoon before it goes out on a Wednesday morning. Well, I was a little worried that we might not be able to record together, Heather and I, in the studio this week, but it turned out that if we just reworked our schedule a little bit and recorded on Monday, then we could. So we took that opportunity. And the reason why I wanted to have a conversation together is I think many of you out there who listen to the show regularly thought that Heather might have some things to say about Pete Hegseth's announcement about testosterone testing and testosterone therapy for soldiers over 30. Yeah, we have quite a few things to say about that in the first half of the show, but not just that. We feel that that is an indication of some of the hypermasculinity that seems to be reaching absurd levels at this moment in time and in this current administration. And we dare to hope that the absurd levels it is reaching from the various stories we have that show its ridiculousness are an indication that it is perhaps jumping the shark, that it has played out, that it is time to let that stuff go. It is just not going to work for you guys anymore. We have several stories on that theme today, and it is a thick show, so I think we should dive right in to the shark-infested waters. Welcome. Well, it's been a minute.
Yeah, but I've heard good things about our interviews, so some people have really liked them.
Good. Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I can't remember, something like that, since the two of us have been in the same studio at the same time. You've done some interviews. I've done some interviews. I was flooded out at a meditation retreat. That was funny. That was
a little scary.
But it's nice to have you back in the studio and get to do this. Hey, I was wondering, did you happen to tune in? Because I'm pretty sure. Well, actually, it wasn't on primetime TV on the major networks. The speech this guy gave last week.
Yeah, most networks were like me. I think even Fox News was kind of, but yeah.
Who was it again? Somebody important.
Someone important.
Or are they?
No,
they think they're important.
They think they're important, okay. That's for sure. Trump gave a speech, but instead of being over anything, because it was supposed to be over election security, and it was entirely a rant about the 2020 election.
Yeah.
Let's see. Obama was in charge. Trump wins. The election was fine.
Gotcha.
So 2016, Obama, it's a fair election.
Yeah.
Trump's in there. 2020, it's a bad election.
Now, if you ask Trump, Obama still was in charge.
Of course. And then, 2024, it's a perfect election. It was nice and safe.
But Biden was in charge.
So apparently, the one we can't trust with election security is
Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And oh my God, my favorite part of that speech is right afterwards, he dumped all these documents about the 2020 thing, which showed direct collusion between his campaign and the Russians. And I'm just like,
pushing him in 2020, that when he was in office and could have controlled it, he did not stop Russia from trying to influence the campaigns. It just didn't happen.
So it showed collusion in 2016. It showed collusion. I mean, I'm just like,
probably in 2024.
Oh, I'm sure. And wow.
My favorite moment afterwards was his lawyer, who is supposedly investigating all of these, charges and things like that has the information. And was allegedly behind this speech, at least the way Trump would present it, said on air, I don't know yet. We haven't found the evidence yet. I'm still looking at the evidence. But, there's no evidence yet that suggests from the intelligence community that there was any manipulation of the votes. Right after his speech. So it's like, I wonder how long he gets to keep his job.
Yeah, and the thing is, Robert Mueller was like, yes, there was collusion. And now we're seeing, yes, there was collusion.
Yeah, he's not doing so well right now.
Health-wise, where how he's still moving is beyond me.
I was actually a little bit more nervous about Trump's speech because I think we knew that it was going to be about campaign stuff, and the fear going into it. Although honestly, I think this also backfired. The fear going into it was that he was going to try and challenge the two senators from Georgia and their legitimacy from an election that he claimed was skewed and corrupted. Fortunately, this just gave them ammunition to go to town on him before the speech happened, and then surprise, they're not ever really mentioned in that speech.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
And he's kind of desperate to get a Senate where he has a little bit more of a majority so he can pass some things like what he's trying to do with that speech, which is pass the SAVE Act.
Which is, from everything I've heard, it's, again, dead in the water.
The dangerous development on that front is that the House has now successfully put it into a budget bill, and under reconciliation procedures, it might not need the 60 votes in the Senate.
Yes, but Murkowski and a couple other high-ranking senators on that side have said no.
And fingers crossed that holds.
Yeah, and remember, just like the turtle, the great living turtle, Mitch, the eternal Mitch McConnell did. It's, thanks for sending it up here. We'll get to it at some point.
Yeah.
Because that's a great way to just, it's on my desk.
Yeah. He's managed to make some enemies in his own party in the Senate. Thank God, finally. And let's hope they hold the line. But it's a little too close to call right now, and I'm a little bit nervous about it. We'll see how that one pans out. Battles, struggles, all these kinds of things that are going on right now. Probably the big news story that we want to spend some time with today has to do with I don't even know what to say. Masculinity, hypermasculinity, butchness.
Butchness is a good way of, I don't know. Butchness has a point. Hypermasculinity doesn't.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Pete Hegseth is of the belief that soldiers over 30 who test for low T are going to get testosterone.
Yeah. Voluntarily. They don't have to be force-fed
They don't
testosterone.
have to, but he totally wants them to.
Yeah, let's keep in mind that the military has ways of encouraging you to take the recommended behavior if you want, I don't know, promotion.
Look, I got out of there just before I was supposed to take the anthrax vaccine, okay?
Yeah. There's so many things to try and unpack here. I just don't even know where to begin. First of all, isn't this gender-affirming care?
It is exactly gender-affirming care. If your testosterone is low and you have no energy and all these other things, you can get it boosted back into regular range, but I don't think he wants it back into regular range, just a little bit more than, because that'll make the soldiers more buff and burly. And I'm like,
lethal and manly and dangerous and all of that. That's according to him.
Well, yes. And I know he's trying to push this Spartan ethos. It's like, we're Spartans, warriors.
Does he know really about Sparta? Because there's some interesting aspects to Sparta that probably, I'm guessing, Hegseth, at least publicly, wouldn't want to embrace.
The thing that gets me is he's like, we have this Spartan warrior ethos, and then they go to war with Persia and lose. And I'm like, yeah, history really does repeat, doesn't it?
Well, there's that, right? We might be jumping the gun there and saying losing, but not going as well as they might have hoped. And
this war has been won and lost 5 times in 12 minutes in a speech by Donnie. We've won, we've lost, we've won, we've lost.
We don't even know why we're there. That's it. I heard a wonderful run of all of the reasons Trump has given us for why we're doing this, and it constantly changes. Here's another thing about Hegseth, right, that I find really interesting in this particular moment. While we are engaged in war with a foreign nation over allegedly stopping them from having nuclear weapons, or maybe changing the leadership, or possibly having their oil, or I don't know what the reason is this week, right? All of those kinds of things. The reason why we don't know what the reason is that despite claiming that our Pentagon, under his watch, was going to be the most transparent it had ever been, there has not been a press conference from the Pentagon since May.
Yeah, they don't want to share. They're just sad little boys.
We have 2 more casualties in the war, and
one of which, I think she was like 18, 19. I mean, I saw a picture of her. She was a private, and she just looked so young, and it just...
Hispanic American from Texas.
It hurts. I mean, predominantly, the thing that should let a lot of people know the big difference here is actual military personnel, deaths of any kind of servicemen and women hurt.
Yeah.
Because we know the cost of war, because we know that if you sign that thing saying I'm in the military, you're signing a blank check up to and including your life. You know this. And she knew this too. And that it cost her that already is deeply sad. And then you have the other side, where all these warmongering idiots are dancing around saying, let's keep firing missiles. I'm like, we're almost out of missiles.
Yeah, and we keep saying that Iran is out of missiles, but somehow they keep finding ways to attack our bases.
Yeah.
And apparently we've been sending out this message that their attacks on our bases aren't getting through because the surrounding nations have been able to take out any missiles or any drones or anything like that. Turns out not so much, that they have been getting through, and that there is a much higher wounded rate, injured rate than the Pentagon has been admitting to. Yeah,
they don't want to share the actual cost of war because they're trying to glorify it.
Okay.
They're trying to say, oh, look at the Spartans. And
So masculinity and hypermasculinity in the Pentagon does not include transparency, apparently. It does not actually include owning up to what's happening. It just includes maybe you should have a little more testosterone.
Yes.
Maybe you shouldn't be trans and fighting in the military. Maybe you shouldn't be a woman and fighting in the military, although we just had a casualty. I'm waiting for them to spin that way.
Yeah. But also, with this hypermasculinity thing Hegseth's on and his cronies, he's also ignoring things like the Army's own report. The Army did a study on success rates and physiological effects of Ranger School. For those who don't know, Ranger School is actually the hardest course in the military. Delta Force, getting into Special Forces, all of that, much easier compared to Ranger School. Ranger School is a grueling meat grinder. Only the toughest of people make it through. And they found in this study that men undergo more detrimental physiological changes during the course of Ranger School than women do. And women, on the whole, are much better suited for the high endurance, high physicality of Ranger School, because their bodies are designed more for endurance and less for quick movements.
Yeah. Also, one of the other advantages of women is higher pain endurance.
Yes, absolutely. And Ranger School, from everyone I've talked to, they're like, well, it started hurting on the second day, and then it stopped 3 months after I was done. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man. And the thing is, over 100 women got their Ranger tabs. These are women who have proven they could cut it, because Ranger School, everyone's like, oh, well, you shouldn't have toned it down. Ranger School didn't. They said, this is the standard. That's it. Everybody has to meet the standard. And most people don't, because it's a brutal standard. And women seem to have a much higher success rate because of natural biological things in their favor. The high pain tolerance, the greater endurance. Because if you look at ultra marathons, which is how long can you go, the longer the race, the more likely a woman is the winner. Like for the 72-hour ultra marathon, it's almost all women in the upper top 10, because they just can keep going and the men can't.
The one that I take away from this, I mean, multiple things I take away from this. First of all, the ridiculous trying to limit anybody's involvement in the military because we don't agree with their gender or their sexual orientation or how they present themselves is, of course, ludicrous and tied to this illusion of hypermasculinity that Hegseth and Trump, but Hegseth especially, embraces. Really rough, right? The other one is underneath, lurking under it, like if we were to spend a little bit more time there, this absolute conviction that we have of the advantages of one sex over the other, of one gender over the other, is much more nuanced than we really allow it. So we like to say that the testosterone in men makes them more strong. It gives them an advantage on one kind of level of strength. On another kind of level of strength, not so much.
It absolutely can destroy it. Yeah. This is the big question that some people miss. It's like, who's stronger? People who train for strength or bodybuilders? Like Arnold, Schwarzenegger will be very clear. I trained for this. I can lift this much, but these guys who train for strength can lift this much. They can lift much more than me. They can do it consistently, and the builds are very different. That's kind of what Hegseth is going for. He wants the bodybuilder look, so they all look at how tough we are.
One would think that even not unproblematically this way direction too, but that the tests, the schools, the accomplishments, the abilities are the better metrics to use to judge the efficacy of a soldier or an athlete than are you taking hormone treatments? Do you have enough testosterone or too much testosterone or that kind of thing? And we're going to change that. That it's like, it's not, first of all, hormone therapies also come with unintended consequences that you make a choice with your medical provider about whether you're going to go through that. When the government starts strong-arming you into getting on to hormone treatments because you have to meet one of their standards for hypermasculinity that's based more on what's flowing through your blood than what you're able to do, that's a problem.
Yes. I mean, if you want the military to be effective and lethal, then you don't necessarily train for, testosterone. You train for skills. You're like, we want our people to have good long endurance so they can do things for a long time. We want explosive power at different points. And I'm like, okay, that would be good. Explosive power at certain points and endurance are completely opposite things. Yeah. And it's hard to train for both.
Yeah. Let's be clear about what it is that we think Pete's really into. Hegseth, the party man, person who spends a lot of time at clubs and bars and likes to drink. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. He's quit. No, he hasn't. What could he possibly actually be more attracted to? Well, our U.S. Representative Becca Balint from Vermont, yes, a Democrat, confronted him a little bit about, this is weird. You're really fixated on a particular masculine body type. It's very homoerotic. Do you know Tom of Finland? Are you trying
honestly, he seems to want all the men in uniform to look like Tom of Finland models, and I'm like, oh my, that's a look.
Yeah, and I get it. Some folks are like, be careful about turning homophobia into really homoeroticism or homosexual desire that's being suppressed, even though we have studies that suggest that the most homophobic people are, in fact, dealing with some kind of same-sex attraction. But never mind. Yes, I get why that might be sort of problematic. At this point, though, with Pete Hegseth and his positions and the things that he says, come on, people, it's just a little too obvious, a little too easy to see.
Not even saying he might have same-sex leanings. Not even saying that. Mm-mm. It's just, dude, you're kind of going for this really specific homoerotic look.
Yeah.
And this is questionable behavior. Yeah. We don't care what you believe. It's just, why is this what you're saying the military needs to look like, as opposed to what the military actually looks like. For the fact that most special forces soldiers are not big and burly because it doesn't require that kind of build. They're usually a little shorter. They are lithe, very powerful people. Some people are, 6'2" and all that stuff, but a lot of them aren't.
And I remember a thing that you've told us a lot on air before, that not all of the military are frontline fighters.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think we need testosterone testing for our intelligence community in the military?
I'm trying really hard not to laugh. I really am.
What about our parachute packers?
You're making this very difficult.
How about the folks who make sure the equipment's running?
Or the finance.
Or the finances,
yeah. They definitely need to be more burly.
Yeah, so this is the part that our Secretary of Defense doesn't ever want to acknowledge about the Pentagon, about our military. Our military is not just made of fighters and their lethality. It is a massive organization that requires a lot of different kinds of skill sets and abilities, not all of which would be helped by testosterone testing or heavily suggested testosterone therapy.
Do you really want your chef to be utterly burly and muscular? So he has trouble putting his arms down enough to stir your...
or prone to maybe the emotional anger issues that come up when you sort of complain about the meat being undercooked. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good one.
You don't complain about any of that. You just kind of eat whatever they serve in front of you.
Well, I love the responses
Yeah.
Obviously, Representative Becca Balint had some, but she's not alone in that. You flipped something into our Flipboard that we would love to be sharing on air, but unfortunately it's copyrighted.
Yeah, but please listen to it because there used to be a video, but that got taken down from Facebook, YouTube, and all these places. But the song itself isn't.
Testosterone.
Oh, my God.
Exclamation point.
It's this big band number, and it's absolutely hysterical because it does name Pete.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's totally about this. This is on Bruce Kluger's MAGA Country YouTube page that shares all kinds of wonderful music and music parodies, usually making fun of this current administration. And in this case, they really went to town on Pete Hegseth. Alex Wagner on MS Now has also had some, I think, fun things to say about Pete Hegseth in this. I don't think it's gone as well in the public as maybe Pete would have hoped.
Well, I'm not even sure what he was looking for there because it's like, oh, we're going to give you more tea if your tea is not high enough. And I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. But like back in 2014, Time Magazine did an article on the growing low testosterone industry that was already in 2014 worth $2 billion. Because at a certain age, you don't need more testosterone because your body naturally ages, hormones shift. It's part of the way things go. And so you can actually hurt yourself by taking more testosterone. You can cause other physiological issues like your dangle will lose letters.
Yeah.
And it'll become a dang or a dan or a duh.
Thank you for not making a sentence that I would have to bleep. But at the same time, I love the innuendos there. Yeah, there's all kinds of reasons why it's problematic. And before somebody kind of calls us out for being hypocrites on this about hormone therapy, please remember that when we talk about hormone therapy, we're talking about people who, in consultation with medical professionals, make very informed decisions about the kinds of medical treatments and therapies they want to be under, the benefits they get from them, and the costs that they're willing to pay to have those benefits. When we talk about what Hegseth is doing, when we talk about a industry built on the idea of marketing and selling you on testosterone, we're talking about folks who are maybe short-circuiting the medical concerns and trying to force your hand in the decision that you make. And that's very different from somebody who, in consultation, makes a decision and weighs the costs and benefits for their life.
Yeah, a lot of these low T clinics, they have a doctor who signs off on everything, but the doctor is almost never in the clinic. He's usually somewhere else signing off on stuff from multiple clinics. So you're not really getting best care. You're not really getting best treatment. Now, there are people who do have serious low T issues who do need this gender affirming care as men. And they absolutely need it, and they absolutely deserve it. Postmenopausal women oftentimes can get on HRT to reduce other issues that they have discovered after menopause and that they need the hormones again to deal with. These are naturally occurring endocrine issues. You should see an endocrinologist. They're very good at this. They're not low T clinics.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was a low E clinic, that would just also be lovely.
Probably should exist. Yet there are biases in our country. Have you noticed?
There are.
Yeah, they still persist.
Yeah, and a lot of it is, when you look at it, it's a lot of this hypermasculinity ideal was pushed by the red pill guys who, first off, didn't understand the matrix at all. And then it was blatantly said, hey, this is a trans allegory. They didn't even change anything. And then you look at some of these people who are pushing this very hyper-masculine, very, raw attitude, and they're pretty much all terrible human beings.
Some of them are getting arrested recently.
Yes, yes. Sassy Andrew Tate, in a lovely number, made him look, well, not completely like a streetwalker, but he's wearing capris and these they look more like women's leather shoes than men's leather shoes. And he's also turning out his ankle in one of the arrest photos. You're just like, really?
Now, I will admit that I'm only familiar with Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate, primarily from the ways that they've been caught up in the news for the last decade. Like, it feels like it's been forever, at least half a decade, maybe a little bit longer than that. Of course, they are promoters in online content of a kind of hypermasculinity themselves. Andrew Tate especially, the sort of, I'm forgetting the term that he uses, but essentially man front or masculinity front.
Manosphere.
The manosphere. There it is. Thank God. It's so I don't want to remember that term. That term is just really crazy to me. It's a very specific vision of masculinity, wealth, dominance, and control. It's it's the way we want to be. It's like, if you think about it, it's hard not to see how probably Pete Hegseth was watching a lot of Andrew Tate content. When he formed his opinions about what the the Department of Defense should be.
Yeah, they are very different.
Yeah, they are very different.
and Andrew Tate, his whole brand is based off of this notion that men have been fooled into becoming lesser.
Yeah.
And I'm like, lesser? Have you met men? Mm-hmm. I mean, men have a great deal of variability. There's some men who are burly and all that, and others who aren't.
We hear all the time, and sometimes it's from the sort of Democratic side that's kind of chastising us, because in our attempts to be a little bit critical of patriarchy and our attempts to recognize some of the systemic misogyny and some of the ways that cis-het normativity has damaged all of us, not just people in the rainbow soup, but really all of us, as its primary way of orienting to the world, that a lot of young white men have been alienated and left behind. They've been sort of made to feel like they were the perpetrators of wrongs that they didn't perpetrate, and that they don't have a home. And that this is largely what the right, MAGA, and unfortunately the manosphere have tapped into. It's, you've been abused, it's wrong, so let's lean into the testosterone, let's lean into being big and butch and hypermasculine and push back. These libs don't want you to be masculine. We want you to be your best, butchest, toughest self.
Which is just, a lot of this issue needs to be addressed along the lines of how you deal with racism.
That too.
First off, like I've said before, I'm racist. Why? Because I grew up in this society, and even while I'm trying to not be racist, it is quite possible for me to, again, do something racist. Why? It's how I was indoctrinated. That's hard to overcome. So a lot of what these young men are dealing with is, you're misogynistic, you're in this, weird man culture and all this, because that's how our society works. If you do not fit a certain paradigm, bullies are going to pick on you, and that's it. And the bullies are often troubled people themselves who are doing this because it's the only thing that gives them a sense of power and control of their own lives.
Yeah.
And so, they're trying to deal with the fact that instead of saying, okay, I'm a part of this society, so clearly as a male, I'm probably misogynistic because that's what I was taught. Instead of just simply accepting it and letting it go and seeing where you can go from there by trying to say, hey, this was something, let me change. It's I can't handle the pain. Oh, but this guy, Andrew Tate, says, if I do this, this, and this, I become much more manly, and it absolves me of all this guilt. It's the same ideology as MAGA.
Yeah. Remember, in Europe, Tate was picked up because
in Romania for child trafficking and underage sex.
Yeah.
And
because that's the other thing that seems to come with this leaning into the manomania is,
really problematic behavior. And
Trump actually pushed for him to be released and allowed to come back to America, and allowed it to happen, and was, a big supporter of Tate.
Worked really hard on that. And then the UK said, I'm sorry, but we've looked over this and we're arresting you. And sure enough, in the U.S.
So they were arrested in Miami.
The brothers were arrested,
The authorities in the United Kingdom are seeking their extradition over allegations including rape and human trafficking. The brothers, of course, have denied the allegations, but there's a lot of evidence. And if they really can deny it and prove that they didn't do it, then maybe they should do so in a more official, in the court of law way, than through some kind of, I don't know, orange
Social
menace
media.
president, social media deciding you're not guilty. Look, this is just evidence of some of the toxic masculinity, the hypermasculinity in the places that it impacts us. It also impacts us in some really, some of these have also been silly, but these are obviously harming people and harming our institutions. There are some other examples we want to look at in the back half of the show that just really show how ludicrous this emphasis on masculinity and hypermasculinity is. And dare we hope that maybe this could be coming to an end. Maybe we've jumped the shark, but that also feels like a hypermasculine metaphor. So I don't know.
The Fonzie wasn't hypermasculine.
No. Yeah. It was a never mind. Back half of the show. You are listening to Isn't It Queer on WDBX FM 91.1, community radio serving the Southern Illinois region. We're going to take a quick minute to listen to one of our station's underwriters, and we'll be right back after this message.
Support for community radio on WDBX comes from the Carbondale Times newspaper, serving the community with news, sports, entertainment, and all things Carbondale since 1997. Pick up a copy of the Times each Friday for civic news, information on who's playing the Strip this weekend, an extensive list of upcoming community events, and all the latest on Carbondale Terrier and Saluki athletics. Best of all, it's free. And to keep up with the Times anytime, visit us online at carbondaletimes.com or look us up on Facebook. Want even more information? Give us a call at 549-2799. Thanks for reading, and remember, together we are Carbondale.
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
So about jumping a shark.
Yes.
Of course, that's a reference to Happy Days.
Yes. There was a scene where the character of Arthur Fonzarelli, when they were all...
The Fonz.
Yes, the Fonz. They were all living in California for some reason. I can't remember. But to get more people interested in something, the Fonz rode his motorcycle and jumped over a shark. Mm-hmm. And it is literally what happened.
Become the metaphor. It has become the reference to shows that just go too far. They become too ludicrous, and things have become so... They should have ended before they jumped the shark, and now it's a real sign that things are coming to an end. And that's what we're hoping is happening with hypermasculinity. It's jumped the shark. We know what we're doing. We've been around too long. Hypermasculinity has definitely been around too long. And here are some of the more ludicrous examples of the way that it is, in fact, playing out in our current news right now. First of all, can we talk about our vice president?
I suppose. He is a person of news.
He has his own definition of hypermasculinity.
Yeah.
It involves a sectional.
It does.
Maybe a love seat.
Ooh.
Possibly a, hide a bed. I don't know.
Oh, maybe a chaise lounge.
I don't know. Of course, we mock J.D. Vance, and we know that, of course, that whole sofa sex thing was made up, but it landed in part because it just somehow fit his weirdness. Here's one that isn't made up. He has a new obsession beyond sofas now.
Oh.
It happens to be our former president, Joe Biden.
Really?
In doing a particular thing.
Okay.
Eating ice cream.
You lost me.
Yeah, I don't know. Most of us don't know either, but apparently J.D. Vance thinks that the press corps for the White House under Biden was really bad because they like to show him eating ice cream, and the man eats ice cream really weird.
It's ice cream.
It's ice cream.
Everybody looks ridiculous eating ice cream.
It's a big creamy melty thing on a cone, and you have to bite it and lick it. And what does it look like, JD? What are you thinking about when you're looking at it? You realize that you could be looking at anybody, including your boss, eating ice cream, and probably have the same reaction. Or did you have a thing for Joe Biden? I don't know.
Draw me like one of your French couches.
Yeah, right. It did not go over very well. I tried to do it. I think it was on the Joe Rogan show, and Rogan was like, "What?"
I would like to, say publicly, congratulations to JD and Usha Vance for welcoming a son into the world. Good job. It's the first time a vice president has had a child in the White House in quite a while. Mm-hmm. So, congratulations. Good job. Yep. Clearly, you have mastered heterosexuality and can now run off and do whatever you want.
His book, by the way, isn't doing so well. Most folks agree that it is rather awfully written.
Honestly, what's funny is because the title, Communion, another person's book with the same title is doing absolutely bangers. And his isn't, because people go, oh, this one sounds much more interesting.
And that book is?
Communion, The Female Search for Love by Bell Hooks.
Oh, I bet Bell Hooks and J.D. Vance would get along real well.
Sure. Just about as well as, someone dumping ferrets down your pants.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure J.D. Vance would accuse Bell Hooks of being a DEI hire. And I believe that Bell Hooks probably wouldn't ever reference J.D. Vance because we don't talk about people like that. But if she did, it would be, he needs some education.
Yes.
and hopefully some good education.
And yes, please, if you aren't familiar with the book, please pick it up. Because, Bell Hooks is amazing. So.
Yeah. Powerful academic and writer about education and writer about Black experience. And yes, a much more important writer. I would much rather read her book than a book about recently becoming Catholic by our current vice president.
Yeah.
And I certainly wouldn't read it on a sofa.
Oh, my.
He's not alone in the silliness, though, I just got to say. We would like maybe J.D. Vance to go away, and we've got about 2 more years before I think that happens. He may not realize it yet, although Bill Maher said he'd vote for him. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah,
really
he's
proven
helpful.
yourself great. We thought that maybe once you got sort of found guilty and put in jail, and even if you were pardoned by the president for the scandals and ways that you abused money from your supporters when you ran for office and then, got in trouble when you were in the House. We thought maybe that person would disappear. But alas, George Santos is ready to make a comeback.
I know. I've seen the pictures, and it brings me to laughter.
I can't imagine a more ridiculous, especially in the frame of hypermasculinity way, for George Santos to try and make a comeback.
Yes, this particular way is it's a reality show.
It is an unreality show.
Yes, it's all these people, including George Santos, undergoing some sort of military-esque training.
Special Forces World's Toughest Test. It's a Fox Channel reality show that's going to, I don't know, put the Rangers test into reality TV. I don't know.
Well, if it's the Special Forces test, that's not as brutal as Ranger School.
Yeah. So maybe he could pass.
No.
Here's the thing, George. Senior drag and whatever, you weren't so bad at it. It looked fun. I wish you'd own it a little bit more. It took you forever to admit that was you. Right now, you in a uniform looks like a different kind of drag. Just going to put that out there.
It really does. It really does.
Including the chest work. Just throwing that out there.
Indeed.
We won't mock, but there are operations for that, and it is also gender-affirming care, so it might be hard to get support for, especially in a military show. But we're just throwing that out there if that's a concern.
Remember, binders are your friend.
I can't believe that he is leaning into what feels like some of the most hyper-masculine stuff. Though, to be fair, another contestant is a very non-binary actress, Ruby Rose.
Oh, she will absolutely smoke that.
I think so.
Because, she was a UFC fighter. She's a really good actress, very good physicality. So she's probably still in shape, and that'll give her an advantage in some of this stuff.
Yeah. Not going to watch it.
At
all.
I don't watch
Can't
reality.
make me. Yeah. Won't even watch it on a sofa with my copy of whatever book.
Sure.
No, not going to happen. But yet there it is, right? I feel like between these two, how you eat an ice cream, and I'm going to try to reclaim my reputation after so much dirt.
Santos for Special Forces.
Right, Santos for Special. This is the ludicrousness of hypermasculinity at work. Now, they get it from somewhere, and that's a Fox Channel reality show, but Fox News is more than willing to offer it. Jesse Waters.
Yeah.
I do not watch him either, but I did see, and we flipped in a story about Waters offering the opinion that a vasectomy makes you less of a man.
Interesting, because it doesn't do anything to lower your testosterone count, but it does lower your sperm count. And just in case people weren't aware, a vasectomy is not 100%, because there are still some swimmers who will be like, oh no, it's the English Channel, we can do it. and they will make it through.
Oh, that was a metaphor. I wasn't sure at first.
Yeah, it's like what a meta is for.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I just, vasectomies are reversible. Vasectomies are the things we actually lean into when we say, hey, dudes, you can actually have some input on birth control.
Yeah.
You can actually have a role that you play and choose not to play in an unwanted pregnancy. All of that sort of put out there, but no, what we need is a hypermasculine dude bro, Fox News commentator, Jesse Waters, who is so not a dude bro, y'all. I get it, but still he would like to be. Trying to tell us that a vasectomy makes you less of a man. I would never have a vasectomy.
I mean, honestly, if you want to make sure that you cannot get caught by a woman with pregnancy, a vasectomy and always using a condom, that would guarantee you're shooting clear. And that's not a bad thing. And then if you're like, well, I want kids, I'm going to go in and they're going to reverse it, which is they take the two parts of the noodle, sew them back together. There, you have a noodle.
Yes.
Yes, these are my very important medical terms.
I like your medical term. We are not doctors, and as we talk about these treatments and whatnot, remember that we always recommend that you consult and talk with your doctor and your medical providers.
You are a doctor, just not a medical doctor.
Yes, exactly.
And I am neither.
For now. Yes. Yeah. I don't know where to put the next one, but I just feel like he fits somehow in this narrative of the ridiculousness and ludicrousness of the hypermasculine.
Yeah.
Blanche, our acting attorney general.
Todd Blanche is special.
Yeah. Yeah. He would like to be a attorney general.
He would.
Mm-hmm. He is pursuing that,
and
including
getting grilled, because that's what you do. You grill these people.
Yeah. First of all, I love that the court threw out the settlement between the Department of Justice and the president that would have rewarded money to the Jan 6 rioters, because a judge looked at it and said,
no.
Not only no, but there's not two sides represented here. This is not
the same side.
Who is the settlement between? There's no settlement here. And that, in fact, the lawyer who brought it to court should be penalized significantly.
Possibly disbarred because of how ludicrous it is.
And has committed a crime by allowing something like this to come forward when it clearly is a waste of time and does not actually meet the standards of
I believe that was Todd.
Yeah, so he's kind of caught some struggles there. The Department of Justice is not doing. It's not like it's women and lawyers these days. It can't seem to hold on to them.
All 6 of them. Yeah.
The ones that it does always keep running into trouble because they think they can just be tough and manly and push things through. And no, actually, there's rules.
Yeah, and he was asked a question about the Epstein Files, and asked if he would mind talking with some of the victims
who were there, by the way,
who were sitting behind him, and. He was like, la, 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 I am not listening. Oh, they have lawyers. I can't talk to them without their lawyers. If their lawyers were here, I could maybe talk to them, but no.
You know who had a lawyer, but he didn't have to have the lawyer with him when he talked to her?
Ghislaine.
Yeah, he didn't have a problem with that. He's also, I don't know, he's so concerned about following the rules and the laws, except when he's running ludicrous suits and criminal appeals for people who are Trump's enemies, prosecutors and whatnot.
Anybody who's has a predilection for, let's go with young people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you think he's going to get through? I don't know.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Because a lot of people seem to really be like, "Are you kidding me?" Mm-hmm. And not just Democrats. I mean, of course, the Democrats are like, "No," but there's Republicans who are like, "Yeah, this is ridiculous. Could you not?"
It is one of those cases because of a decision actually I think McConnell made a while ago that I don't think he needs 60 votes to get approved. He just needs a simple majority, and they could pull that off. Unfortunately, even with some Republicans bailing on him as a viable candidate.
Yeah. And the eternal McConnell, is still helping us from the great beyond.
Yeah. By the way, we had a Democratic representative who was elected and made to wait for months before being approved into the House because we didn't want that Epstein thing to pass.
I believe that was Grijalva.
Yeah, that one. Meanwhile, Lindsey Graham, within 60 hours,
his sister was
promoted in his place.
Someone told me this is them trying to soft intro the divine right of kings, and so we're going to replace Donnie with one of his kids.
That's even worse. That's terrifying. By the way, this is one where Donnie made the suggestion, and a lot of people, including MAGA people, were like, "No, that's wrong. Why would you do that? That's just, she has no experience. Why would you do that?"
No clue what she's doing. Yeah.
And then the governor of South Carolina, appeasing the president, did what he asked and has replaced.
So she's going to have a lot of fun for the last little bit of the term.
Yeah. Hypermasculinity does not allow you to acknowledge or grant your hypocrisy. So that seems to be one of the defining elements. So with these ludicrous examples, and admittedly Blanche is a stretch, but he's a stretch in many ways. These ludicrous examples, have we in fact jumped the shark on hypermasculinity?
I think so. I mean, I've seen a number of YouTube videos from different content creators and a couple of articles where people are like, it doesn't seem to hold the same appeal as it used to. It doesn't seem to be as strong since the Tates were running around the world trying to avoid getting arrested for trafficking and underage, sex. This is kind of looking more and more like, this was a scam. We've been scammed. Mm-hmm. And, when people find out they've been scammed, some of them get really grumpy.
Yeah. I could see it. Here's my hope, though, right, is that if we could finally maybe go hypermasculinity and toxic masculinity are a problem, if we could actually start to challenge some of the ridiculous flattening of gender that hypermasculinity and
flattening of emotions.
Oh yeah, that too expects. I think there are positive outcomes for a gender expansive world. Look, if that is itself a ridiculously flawed binary thinking about masculinity versus femininity, and yet we still have to take our hormone treatments to enforce it and make it happen.
Yeah.
And we have to do all of these ludicrous other things to prove our big, tough masculinity instead of maybe embracing a variety of forms of masculinity and that it doesn't all take the same shape and there's lots of ways to serve in the military and all that kind of stuff. Then what we're really doing is breaking that binary and showing diversity and expansiveness.
Yeah, because honestly, some of the manosphere stuff I've seen, I'm just staring at like, what? They're like, guys, is it gay to like a woman? And I'm like, what? Is it gay to wipe yourself? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And it just gets creepier and creepier. And you're just like, what is this obsession? Mm-hmm. Why can't you just be who you are? Yeah. And yeah.
One dares to hope. I want to believe that it's the pathway to sort of allowing a diversity of ways of being I know they hate this term, the cisgenders, right? That like when we say cisgender, I know that you hate that word out there, cisgender people. Some of you, not all of you, some of you, but it's not.
It's not a bad thing. All it means is fundamentally you're like, hey, I'm good with my gender.
My gender matches the sex that I appear to have that I was assigned at birth.
And I'm great with that. And that's awesome.
Fits. And my mind and my genitalia go together. They work together. There was nothing in development, nothing in the way that I came in being that made them at odds with each other.
This is just who I am, and that's good.
And that's a great thing. And if you're a dude, if you're a woman within that cis normative world, there are lots of ways to do that.
Oh, yeah.
There are so many different ways to be a woman and to be a man. And you can be sensitive and masculine.
Oh, yeah.
You can be tough and firm and rigorous and strong leader and be feminine.
I mean, one of my favorite examples of that is Eleanor of Aquitaine. Mm. Oh, she was from an area of Spain where the stories of King Arthur and romance and chivalry all came from. She was very feminine. And so when her husband went to the Crusades, she brought her handmaids and they went to the Crusades. And they charged into battle bare-chested. And a lot of people were like, what is even going on here? They didn't really have to fight because too many people were like running away going, I don't even know what is happening.
You're breaking the rules.
So, and she was extremely feminine and yet massively tough.
Yeah.
She never bent to anyone's will. Yeah. Anyone's. And that's impressive.
Oh, there are so many beautiful stories in history and so many different ways that we know across cultures and across time that we have done our genders differently, even within a cisnormative world. Our hope, and the reason why we're going here, is that when you start doing that, when you start acknowledging that, when you start allowing that, then you actually open the door in a good way for more gender expansiveness. Like, yeah. I don't know, maybe there is a place in the military for transgender troops.
Likely. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, militarily, the most decorated soldier of World War II was Audie Murphy. He basically won a Congressional Medal of Honor while he was fighting in Europe. And he said, hey, send me to the Japanese front. He fought there too, and effectively, was willing to get a second one, and because he just was amazing. He was also short. He was a short guy. Other soldiers used to make fun of him because he was tiny, and they had such difficulty in Hollywood trying to figure out who to play Audie Murphy because all of their actors were big and tall and burly. They eventually got Audie Murphy to play Audie Murphy. Check it out. It's all history. It's all Hollywood. It's all right there. And honestly, Audie Murphy is hysterical as an actor. There are so many good examples across U.S. history and entertainment and popular culture of people that don't conform to our expectations actually being standout and fabulous and wonderful. And run with it. I love it. Here's where I'm trying to go with this, though, right, is obviously we hear it, isn't it queer, want the alphabet soup, including trans people, because they are not ever not in the alphabet soup. There is no LGB, no T, no Q. That does not exist here, just to be clear. We want them to have less persecution, less scapegoating, but also access to healthcare, access to the events and things that they want to do, like sports, if they want to. And not to imagine that somebody changes their gender so they'll win trophies, which is just a ludicrous idea. Yeah. It is the push that we push for. And even the Trump administration is starting to find that, challenging access to health care is so unpopular that they're backing off on banning trans from being able to do that or taking away the funds from hospitals that allow trans people to get health care. We talked a couple of weeks ago about a rule proposal which would actually change the law. Mm-hmm. And it was about trans access to health care and what money hospitals can get and all that. And after over 30,000 comments saying, are you kidding me? The administration pulled back, and that rule is not going forward, that change. So, yay, that's not going to be an issue. And fundamentally, if you want to know the trans agenda, it's, hey, I just want to make it through the day.
Yeah. I want to be myself.
Yeah, that's it.
It doesn't really impact you.
And if you expand it, it's we want everybody to be themselves, their authentic selves, whatever that is.
And there are so many more options in this world than toxic hypermasculinity or excessive femininity. You can still be tough. You can still be butch. You can still have pectorals. You can still be a bodybuilder and a weightlifter and all of that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not the only way.
Yeah.
And that's the big idea. Here's our challenge, though, right, is we got midterms coming up. We've got politics to play out. We've got votes to be had. And we need to be really clear with each other, especially in whatever party we identify with, that scapegoating trans people or ignoring assaults on trans rights and queer rights is not a good path forward. So we're looking at you, Ohio.
Yes, where you silence the progressive group who called out the person running for governor for...
Amy Acton.
Yes, for being very anti-trans and calling trans girls boys.
But she's a Democrat, and we have to be a big tent party.
No. I'll still tell you out, and I think they were right to.
Yeah.
Because throwing anybody under the bus is not going to get you votes. Yeah. We've talked about this over and over and over.
Look, Graham Plattner had to step down as a Senate candidate in Maine, in part because of allegations of sexual assault and all kinds of other things. If that's a problem for him, and you say that's a scandal and he can't possibly be there, and you found a replacement that's actually quite worker-friendly, far left and whatnot, that's probably a much better candidate, then we think maybe you could do the same in Ohio, because if sexual assault, if wearing or having a Nazi tattoo from when you were a youth as part of your tattoos on your body are a problem for Democrats, I really think maybe being anti-trans should also be a problem for Democrats, and we can find better candidates. It is a big tent party, but at a certain level, I don't think you can run on policies. The other one, by the way, it's not just their governor. Representative Marcy Kaptur, who is the representative from Toledo, has a pretty good record for supporting LGBTQ rights, except very much in support of the Republican push to out trans students, so that you have to make sure that parents know that they're going around and acting like they're trans if you're in any kind of teacher or other mode in a school. And so it's been very supportive of that, despite lots of folks sort of pointing out why that can be problematic, especially if you don't know the family they're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally be setting up a child to die.
Yeah, or to be homeless, or to be,
yeah. And that's one of the great tragedies. I mean, everyone in the alphabet community is aware that coming out is a very dangerous thing. You do not know what the person's response is going to be. You hope it's going to be positive, but it's also just as likely that they're going to lose their minds and kick you out and disavow your existence. Yeah. And because the coming out stories are filled with good and bad. And so outing a student and saying, yeah, so-and-so is going by such and such.
Asked me to use this pronoun, wants me to recognize this aspect of their identity. Are you aware?
Oh, yeah, that could result in all sorts of negative consequences.
That is driven by something that is not unlike hypermasculinity. It is a firm, hypocritical, rigorous understanding of what things should be and how you must conform to them, and the belief that you can spank or beat or kick out or do whatever and change somebody's identity. And we know that you can't.
And the thing is, it's right there in the words. You should be this. Yeah, but I am this.
Right.
Should never happens.
They're called normative values for a reason, and that norm is very exclusive of a lot of people, and we don't like it.
The only time you should have norm values is at Cheers.
He's a nice character. He was a good character.
He's a good character.
Not the same norm. Hey, we think hypermasculinity has jumped the shark. You know what? We dare to hope, though unfortunately that shark might still be out at sea for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Transphobia and trans assaults may have jumped the shark. We'll know that's happened when J.K. Rowling finally goes downhill and no longer has the legitimacy to force an organization to stop calling anti-trans groups anti-rights groups. She got away with that, didn't she?
She totally did.
Yeah, she did.
Marquess Moldy.
Yeah. And now she wants to have a debate with a trans person, but her way of initiating the debate is to show skirt-lifted pictures of the trans person she wants to have a debate with.
That's assault.
It's assault. It's rude, it's wrong, and it's totally normalized by people like her. And I'm sorry if you are looking forward to some Harry Potter world, but I cannot look forward to any of that when it is supporting somebody like this who has just leaned in and doubled down on her own hyper-femininity.
Who has flat out stated, hey, if you give me money for Harry Potter, I'm going to use it to get rid of trans people.
So many sharks to jump. May they be toothless. By the time you jump them.
Yes.
And on that note, you have been listening to Isn't It Queer on WDBX 91.1, community radio serving the Southern Illinois region. This has been Jonny
and Heather.
Think Again, Please is coming up next, and we will see you again next week on the radio.